What does Jayden Epps, about calling by his wrong name, mean for the Illinois Final Illini? He announced that he was leaving. What does this mean? And the reason why we're going to bring up specifically Jayden Epps is because, well, people use this as an opportunity to go after Coach Underwood even more than what they already have, because he's not the only Illini that is leaving. Coleman Hawkins put out there that he's going to enter the NBA draft with his possibility to return to Illinois. Nobody else has really said anything on what they're going to do. That meant any, really posted anywhere besides Guy Clark. He's been the only one, but that's a whole other thing. Him going to uh, Louisville in spite of Illinois losing. It was immediately after, but Jayden Epps posted that he was going to be entering the transfer portal, leaving, and this opened up the opportunity for, as I call them, fake Illinois fans, whatever it is. People already posted, well, and tagged me in it. Well, Steve, they don't want to play for Brad Underwood. Oh, he can't keep guards. And they come out this list of guards that have left Coach Underwood and his program. And, oh, let's use this opportunity to fire him. Oh, Jayden Epps didn't get along with him, anything else. Let's look at everybody that has left Coach Underwood since he's left. But, so we're going to talk about exactly what this means for Brad Underwood or Coach Underwood and the University of Illinois men's basketball program. What this means is he has to go find a guard. Now, I did not like Jayden Epps leaving. I really liked watching him play. I thought his defense was great. As a freshman, he was getting better and better. I really thought not having him in the end there in the stretch when he was sent to the hospital for concussion symptoms and it was really bad, I felt that we could have really used him. And you saw that in the Big Ten tournament. You saw that in the NCAA tournament. One of the lacking things for this team was we didn't have a true point guard. Shannon had to be the point guard, and I feel like he's a better off-the-ball player than a true point guard. He is a true, I'm going to go score. I don't know. I'm not saying he can't facilitate the ball. I just think that he's a person that is not a true quote-unquote point guard. Jayden Epps leaving means you're going to have to go find another guard. As cutthroat as it is, this is college basketball, this is college sports. It's turned into free agency, NBA, free agency, NFL. And the reason why it's turned into that, if you look at all the transfers that have left. Now, whether this is factual or not, I don't know if it's 100% factual. Like Sky Clark was a transfer for the University of Illinois. It says in a name, image, and likeness value was $184,000. Now, whether that's true or not, whether that's coming from, I don't know. Jayden Epps was $23,000. Regardless if that's true or not, it's become a free agency thing with this name, image, and likeness. It's become an open window. It's become, I keep saying Wild Wild West. I don't know if it's exactly Wild Wild West. I don't have all the 100% factual evidence, but it's become this way because you have this collective where there's this money put into these college programs that they can use to get people. Sometimes the coaches, most of the time, coaches aren't even involved. You're going to have boosters getting involved now. You're going to see other people on your team making some type of money. You're going to get told by another player on another team that you could go make money, maybe this much money going to this school. It doesn't necessarily have to come from a coach anymore. It doesn't have to come from a recruiting personnel. It doesn't have to come from any of that. It could come from another player. But what Jayden Epps leaving is, and we're never really going to know until they come out with it. If Coach Underwood ever comes out and says exactly what happened, then we'll find out. If Jayden Epps ever posts out, exactly what happened, we will know exactly what happened, but we can only speculate at this point. But the speculation has come from, did he not get along with Coach Underwood? This is grounds to fire him. This is exactly what happens. We'll get to Underwood here in a second. There's maybe some factual things to this because he seemed like he was okay to play near the end of the season. But he didn't play very much. This could just be Coach Underwood feeling that he didn't want anything to happen to him, and that's fine. Jayden Epps maybe felt differently. Now, we don't really know. Did he not feel like he can handle the offense that Coach Underwood wanted him to do? Was there a disconnect between he and Coach Underwood? Was there a disconnect between him and the players? Was there maybe he saw Sky Clark going to get money at Louisville and he said, I want to go? There's no way for us to know unless we had Jayden Epps on here right now in order to talk to him. So to come out and say, oh, this is because Coach Underwood and him, blah, 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 Coach Underwood can't get guys to play, blah, blah, blah. That's stupid. That is a dumb thing. Now, there is a little bit of a track record for some guards leaving Coach Underwood's program. And we're going to talk about that, but we're going to talk about the other side of this. Let's talk about transfers. Let's just talk about transfers that have left the University of Illinois. And we're going to start with this year. So right now, transfers, well, that they're leaving. Sky Clark left to go to Louisville. Jayden Epps is transfer. We don't know where he's going. Last year, this is where people really like to talk about this. Let's just talk about transfers altogether. Granderson left to go to Duke. Then we bring in Matthew Mayer. Verdonk left to go to South Carolina. Pods left. He left after Matthew Mayer came in. Went to Santa Clara for some reason. Terrence Shannon transferred in from Texas Tech. Curbelo, after a weird season that he had last year, transferred to St. John's. Omar Payne, after he transferred to U of I, went to a community college. Then Dane Danger came along with Matthew Mayer from Baylor to Illinois. The year before that, Plummer, a guard, transferred in from Utah to the University of Illinois. Adam Miller, who was a freshman, transferred. He's from Morgan Park in Chicago, went from U of I to LSU. Then Omar Payne, we just talked about, he transferred from Florida to U of I, and that didn't end up too well. Year before that, Alan Griffin transferred. He's a shooting guard. He went from Illinois to Syracuse. Year before that, we had Austin Hutcherson, guard, came in to the Illinois Fighting Illini. 2018, Mark Smith was a guard, left from Illinois to go to Missouri. Greg Ebojing, whatever how you say his name, is a power forward, went from Illinois, I believe, to Nebraska. Then Tajon Lucas left now. When you go to 2018, 2017, we don't really need to talk about all that because Coach Underwood's first years, he's trying to get the program, turn around everything else. So they talk about all these guards that are left. Okay. He has a little bit of history of guards leaving. So we're going to go back 2 years that were relevant. If you look at 2019, that's not relevant. Let's look at 2020. Alan Griffin left. Okay, there's a guard that left. Then we get into 2021. This is where people talk about this. Kind of start with Adam Miller. Adam Miller leaves. Okay. What do you want Brad Underwood to do with him? He had opportunities to play. I believe he was injured. Maybe saw the writing on the wall of playing time and what was happening. This name, image, and likeness thing started to happen. I don't know how factual this actually is. From on3.com, it says $105,000. I don't know if that's for this year at that point in time, because when this name, image, and likeness thing started to happen. But he left. No real rhyme or reason, just decided to leave. Decided to leave. So then we go to the next year. This is big time where it took off. Granderson was a guard, decided to leave and go to Duke. Verdonk, he's a power forward, decided to leave. Pods, who has done very well, guard, left to go do his thing. Andre Curbelo left. We saw a little, butting heads of there with him and Coach Underwood. He goes to St. John's. So we talk about all these people that left. Have you noticed any type of trend? Any type of trend here? They're pretty young when they leave, for the most part. So they're pretty young. So it's either these guys just can't handle a tough nose coach, which is very possible. It's very possible that they liked Underwood enough to come there, because you have to like him to come there to begin with. Then do you realize that maybe he's very tough? And what's the old saying? When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Well, they go. Okay, they go. And they left. And that's okay. Now, The other thing we've got to realize is, what are the track records from these people? So I look at Sky Clark. He transferred to like 4 or 5 different high schools. So we all have to kind of start looking and saying, are these guys transferring during their high school times? It's very possible. It's very possible. How is everything else going? How Why did they leave? Was it money? Was it more playing time? But the other thing you got to realize, a lot of these people that had left, they were given the opportunity to play. They got playing time. They started. What else do you want him to do with them? This doesn't mean that they should fire him. This doesn't mean that he couldn't coach them. Because here's my other point. If nobody wanted to play for him, he wouldn't have a job, number one. Number two, why don't we talk about the people that he kept from the time he got there? I mean, Kofi Coburn came back. Now he's not a guard, though, Steve. He's not a guard. Okay. Ayo Dosunmu stayed for a while. Shannon, who's a guard, came in. And speaking of Shannon, did anybody see the tweet this Hoop Herald put up that thought on this coaching style? It's Brad Underwood yelling, quote unquote, yelling at people. Terrence Shannon then responds with, "Yep, this is how the best coach in NCAA coaches. Don't like it? Don't come." Well, why don't we just, if you guys are watching the YouTube video, we're going to share this screen. This is what I'm talking about. There's this video of Coach Underwood yelling, hooping and hollering. Then he says, "Yep, this is how the best coaching NCAA coaches. Don't like it? Don't come." So to me, when you see something like this from a person who is an older player, maybe that fits Coach Underwood better than a freshman. But another thing that these freshmen that we have to realize is this name, image, and likeness, which is great. They need to be paid. But in correlation with that is this transfer portal. We always talk about the transfer portal in football. What about in basketball? Let's start talking about the transfer portal in basketball. I don't know if basketball programs are going to be built the way Coach Underwood had it built before this happened. And what I mean by that is Kofi Coburn was around, Ayo Dosunmu was around, Coleman Hawkins is leaving for the pros, but he was around. Like, these guys that were around were recruited as freshmen and stuck with it. Now, did they stick with it because they couldn't transfer? No, you could transfer one time. Transferring has always been a thing. But we don't like to talk about being a thing because it's ramped up right now. They could transfer, but right now they can transfer multiple times. But now they get paid for it. Now, the getting paid thing, I'm all for. That's not what we're going with. That's not, I don't want to be taken from that, saying, "Oh, you don't want to get paid. You don't want them to do this." No, pay them, especially if they're earning it, right? No shadiness. Oh, they're showing up. They're in a commercial. They're sponsoring. They're doing whatever. They're doing a podcast. They're signing things. They're doing this. They're doing that. They're doing that. Great. Jayden Epps leaving does not mean to fire Coach Underwood. Does not mean we need to talk about all these guards. We've talked about all these guards. Most of them are young freshmen, redshirt freshmen. They're pretty young. When they're young and they actually get coached, and you look at him, do they transfer all the time? But this is what we're talking about. We talk about Illinois fans think we're entitled to fire this guy just because of this happening or this happening. I think, and I talked about this before, I firmly believe that Coach Underwood, the way you watch him building this culture and this program when he got there, he's building it the way he knows how, which is, I'm going to recruit young. I'm going to get some transfers in. I'm going to try to keep them around the best I can. I'm going to build it up, because that's what happened with Kofi Coburn, Ayo Dosunmu, all of them. Epps coming in, Trent Frazier, all these guys. That's how it was built. Now, with the landscape that is happening with college football and college basketball, is maybe that's not the way to do it. You still recruit freshmen. You still can do that. But I think the way it's going now, and you could see what this Illinois team is, and look at other teams, because this is happening all over the country. I would love to see every single basketball program fans, if guys are leaving their program, are they calling for their head coach to leave? I would love to see those. If that is actually happening, okay, Illinois fans, then maybe we're normal. But if it's not happening, why do Illinois fans think we are Duke? Why do we think we're North Carolina? Why do we think we're Kentucky? Why do we think we're all these blue bloods that win year in and year out all of a sudden think that we could come out and say, yes, fire him. Yes, we are the University of Illinois and we are at this top. I'm a University of Illinois fan. I support Whitman, the athletic director. I support all the head coaches there. They are doing a phenomenal job. They are getting us to that point to have that happen. But what does Jayden Epps mean? What does this mean? Looking at these guards mean? It means the landscape of recruiting has changed. It means they might know something about getting money somewhere else. It might mean they don't get along with the people on the team. It might mean a bunch of different things. And we can't jump to conclusions. When you have guys coming out to defend him, when you have guys like Luke Goody say they're going to come back, you have Dane Danges say they're going to come back. Coleman Hawkins is leaving, but with the possibility of returning if the NBA doesn't work out, like Kofi did. I could see Coleman Hawkins coming back. Now he hasn't said he's going to come back to Illinois. He would just keep his eligibility open to go somewhere, but it's open for him to come back. Well, why have people not stayed all 4 years or 5 years and blah, blah, blah? He said guys go to the NBA draft. Guys go play professionally overseas. All these things happen. But for some reason, and maybe it's just because I follow Illinois stuff more than I follow other teams, but all of a sudden, it's let's fire him. Let's fire him. Just because some of these guards have left in his tenure, and all of a sudden, Jayden Epps says he's going to leave, and this just opens up can of worms, opens up this wildfire. I don't get it. So what does it mean? It means he's got to go get a guard. It's a cutthroat business. Yes, college sports are a business. We have to go get a guard. We have to look into the transfer portal because I think that's where this is going to have to happen. Coach Underwood's going to have to start looking at, do I find certain transfers in? Do I start focusing more on that than anything else? And that may be how he has to recruit. And again, we just go straight to, let's fire Coach Underwood. And there was an article put out about Coach Underwood versus Bruce Weber and versus John Gross and, these people. And the article was written to take away, I think, their first 2 or 4 years when you're building up a program. Couple stats here for you guys for Coach Underwood was his last 4 years. He's 88-40 in the last 4 years. He's 55-25 in the Big Ten the last 4 years. 4 NCAA tournaments, even though now when you say 4, one of those was going to be the COVID year. 2021 Big Ten tournament championship with a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. 2 Big Ten titles in 2021, 2022. He's 2-3 in the NCAA tournament, and he's 3-2 in the Big Ten tournament. Then I talked about why, him going to the transfer portal because he's had Miller leave, he's had Corbello leave, Pods left. Now you have Jayden Epps left. Sincere Harris said he was coming back, but he deleted his tweet, which is very strange. I don't know what it's like, for that. The 3-point shooting has not been well. So it's just an article that I recommend people read. It also showed they combined the last 6 years of Coach Weber's season and John Gross. Overall, those two coaches combined. Now, this is for 11 seasons. They're 200. It was 216 and 160, 87, 109 in the Big Ten, 2-4 in the Big Ten tournament. So, people out there that go about wanting to fire Underwood. Now, I liked Bruce Weber at the beginning. Now, near the end, it started to fall apart a little bit. And then he goes on to Kansas State. Little bit of success here and there, but overall at Kansas State, Bruce Weber was 184, 147. He was 82-98 in the Big 12. John Gross and Champaign was 95-75, 65-41 in the Big 10. The best season he had was a 13-loss campaign in 2013. I'm just throwing those numbers out there. So when we talk about um, firing him compared to those other guys combined, just stop. We're at a place now where we have a coach doing consistent things. This transfer portal thing is happening all over the place. It's sad to see Jayden Epps go because I think if he played a couple of those games, not necessarily saying we win, but we're put in a better situation to win. So what does it all mean? It means recruiting has to change maybe a little bit. We're not all in the building. We all don't know. Only Coach Underwood and his staff know. So we need to stop saying that we know, we know. We can speculate, we can talk, but we don't know. And ultimately, we have to continue to put our trust in him. Now, does he need to start? Now we're talking about NCAA tournament. Do we need to win some NCAA tournament games? Absolutely, we would love to, but we just stay the course. What does this mean? Recruiting. We probably have to dip into the transfer portal, and maybe that's the way now. We have to build teams, and maybe they have. I think Coach Underwood maybe has to adapt to that a little bit. But it can mean a lot of things. These freshmen can't handle coaching. It means something when the older players are sticking up for him. It means that when you saw RJ Melendez after the game saying, yeah, some of us aren't listening to coach. He's telling us what to do and these things, and we're just not executing them. We're not doing them. It says a lot. And, sometimes we do have to place blame on the players. Coach gets blame, but ultimately you have to understand that he's going to take all the blame. He's going to take all the heat. But it's okay to put blame on players too. So what does this mean? Just go recruit. We got to recruit, probably dip into the transfer portal. Thank you guys again for watching and or listening. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow and rate on Apple and iTunes. Check out all the affiliates in the description below. Leave a comment in the comment section down below as well. There was great comments to the Fire Coach Underwood video and everything else. Check out all the other videos on the YouTube channel. Check out the playlist stuff for extra content. Be on the lookout for other things that I'm trying to work on to grow this thing. Couple other things coming down the pipe, hopefully just taking a little bit longer than expected, but we'll be in the waiting mode for that. Thank you guys again for watching and or listening. This is Coach Steve, and we will see you guys next time.